Triple H's tribute to Hulk Hogan was more than just a speech, it became the emotional backbone of a farewell unlike anything professional wrestling had ever seen. At a funeral draped in red and yellow, the iconic colors that once shook arenas across the globe, the atmosphere was thick with reverence and grief. There was no grand entrance music, no spotlight, no ring. Just a quiet chapel in Florida where legends, fans, family, and superstars came together to mourn a man whose name had transcended the business he helped build. When Triple H stepped to the podium, he wasn't the game, he wasn't the chief content officer. He was simply Paul Levesque, a man saying goodbye to someone who had once made him believe that anything was possible. His voice trembled from the moment he began. He didn't rely on theatrics or corporate polish, he spoke from the heart, raw and exposed. He called Hogan not just a wrestler or an icon, but a brother, a mentor, and a fighter whose impact could never be measured by championships alone. He recalled their first meeting in a gritty Tampa gym, where Hogan greeted him with that familiar grin and a challenge that would change his life. He spoke directly to the younger generation of wrestlers who had only known the myth, reminding them that behind the legend was a man named Terry who was loyal, generous, and deeply invested in everyone around him. Then came the moment that froze the room. A letter, written by Hogan nearly 2 decades ago, that Triple H found buried in his desk that morning. "Keep the torch burning. The kids are watching." As he gently placed that letter on Hogan's casket, every eye in the room welled with tears. There was no kayfabe, no separation between character and reality, this was grief, raw and universal. He spoke of Hogan's final days, bedridden but still thinking about the fans, still asking to be remembered. And with a breaking voice, Triple H promised him he would be. That promise, "You're immortal," wasn't just a line. It became the mantra of the entire wrestling world. Fans etched it in chalk outside arenas. Wrestlers posted it in tribute. Even rival promotions acknowledged its truth. After the funeral, WWE aired a full episode of Monday Night Raw dedicated solely to Hogan's memory. Triple H made the decision himself, insisting that Hogan would have wanted a celebration, not a mourning. The show opened with a haunting orchestral rendition of Hogan's theme, the screen replaying moments of glory, triumph, and humanity. In the ring, Triple H once again stood alone, not as an executive but as a man grieving alongside millions. "Tonight, we don't mourn a death," he said. "We celebrate a life that made us believe." As the crowd thundered with chants of, "Hogan, Hogan, Hogan," it felt as if the legend himself was still there, flexing with the fans one last time. Throughout the night, superstars shared personal memories, Randy Orton recalling childhood visits from Hogan, Bianca Belair remembering family nights watching his matches, and even The Miz breaking character to whisper, "He made us believe we could be superheroes." The final segment of the night brought the arena to silence, an empty ring under a spotlight, a folded red and yellow robe, and the WWE Championship belt resting in the center. A video montage of global fans and touching tributes ended with the simple phrase, "Hulk Hogan, 1953 to 2025. Immortal forever." Triple H, watching from backstage, stood beside Stephanie McMahon, visibly emotional. That night, he posted a photo from years earlier, himself and Hogan grinning like brothers. The caption read, "Thank you for believing in me, brother. I'll keep the torch burning. Always." The image went viral. Wrestling legends, Hollywood stars, political figures, and everyday fans flooded social media in collective mourning. But Triple H didn't stop at tributes. He spearheaded the creation of the Hogan Legacy Scholarship, a grant supporting aspiring athletes, performers, and physical therapists. "We don't want his memory to just sit in the past," he said. "We want it to lift the next generation." He also commissioned a no-holds-barred docuseries titled, "Immortal: The True Life of Hulk Hogan," which chronicled not just the glory but the pain, the controversy, and the man behind the myth. In the opening episode, Triple H sat alone on camera, no script, no background music, just a man confronting loss. "When someone that big leaves, the ring feels quieter," he said. Fan letters poured in. One from a father in Detroit told of how Hogan's video message gave his son battling leukemia the strength to fight. Reading it aloud, Triple H teared up again. "That was him," he said softly. "That was Terry." When the next Hall of Fame ceremony was discussed, Triple H insisted Hogan be inducted a second time, not as a performer but as a legacy. WrestleMania that year featured the first ever posthumous legacy induction. Triple H walked on stage in silence, standing in a single spotlight, the crowd roaring around him. "We honor a man twice because once wasn't enough," he declared. As footage rolled of Hogan mentoring young talent, granting wishes, and joking backstage, the stadium was wrapped in emotion. Hogan's voice echoed one final time, "Thank you, my Hulkamaniacs. I'll see you on the other side, brother." Fans rose to their feet in salute, some crying, others beaming with the pride of having been part of the ride. In the months after, WWE continued to celebrate Hogan's influence. Chants of "Hogan" rang out during shows, merchandise sold out, and every time his music played, it felt like a heartbeat returning. Privately, Triple H confessed to friends that Hogan's absence left a void nothing could fill. The backstage texts that began with, "Brother," the late-night calls for advice, they were gone. Stephanie saw it too, how deeply he struggled. But he used the grief as fuel. He oversaw tribute specials, documentaries, and made sure Hogan's story was told fully. Not just the myth, but the man, the fighter, the flawed mentor, the trailblazer. In his office, Triple H kept that same letter Hogan had written him years ago, now framed. Every time he walked by, he'd read it again, silently nodding. The torch was his to carry now. Hulk Hogan had left the ring, but the echoes of his presence, his voice, and his spirit would never fade. He was more than a legend. He was a movement. And thanks to Triple H, that movement, fueled by love, loyalty, and belief, would never stop running wild.